go into a different era, and that is going to be the Lost Years era. And so this, as you can see, there's not as many colorful things, not as many things. This is more of a different type of era for me. From around 2010 to 2019, I took a break from gaming in the same way. I still gamed, but I just didn't play very much, um, especially towards the latter half of the decade. We did start in 2010, and I got a Nintendo DS. This is the first system that I remember um, getting. I think I may have even. I don't remember if I got this for myself. I do recall my friends having it. Some of my friends were, had one for I think a little bit, because I think this came out a couple years before. But I remember going over to their house and they were both playing it. I think they were playing like Pokemon White and Black or something like that. And just thinking like, oh, that'd be really cool to have one. I still had the Nintendo Advance SP, but it was, past its prime at that point. And so I went and got one. I don't remember if I went to a store called Gamers, which in Nebraska is sort of a local chain equivalent to a GameStop, just a lot better than GameStop. And I don't know if I traded in some things for it, or whatnot, but I do recall getting one right around this time. And this was sort of the first system I remember not being super excited for. I wanted it to play with my friends, but I'd kind of fallen out of love with Nintendo at this point. So it was, I can't say that I really bought many games for it. I think maybe 2 or 3 games, and it went mostly unused. And then in 2011, I had to get another PlayStation 3 because my PlayStation 3 had a similar issue with the laser going out in it. So this was the PS3 Slim. I think this was the second edition. There's actually 3 editions of the PS3. There's another one that has like a sliding top. But this was the second edition. And I do recall this one because I got this on Black Friday. I actually went to Walmart. I stood in line for this one, and I was the first in line. And we were giving out tickets, and they only had so many, and you had to be like the first 50 people. And we got there a couple hours, like an hour or 2 hours early before they were going to be giving them out or whatever. And I stood in line and picked mine up, and I was very excited. I remember because this was a Christmas where everyone was going crazy about the Xbox 360 and like getting like playing I think Kinect or some other things during that time. But I was a PlayStation man through and through, so I picked up that PS3 Slim. And then in 2012, I got my first laptop. This was the I think the first time I got a PC. I think I've had 3 laptops over the years. I think I got one in 2012. I got another one in 2014 or 15, and then I got my last one in like 2016. And now I've got my own PC, so I don't really use a laptop. But I didn't have a like PC at home, so I had my laptop in my office, and I started gaming on this. I would take my laptop over to my friend's house, and we play games like StarCraft 2, and I think a little bit of maybe League of Legends around this time, just a little bit. There's another game, I can't think of what it's called. I want to say it's like something in the storm. I don't remember. It's something, but it's basically like a League of Legends of sorts, but it has like the Blizzard characters. So like StarCraft, Warcraft, Diablo, that kind of stuff. So that was a deal for a while. And when I go over and hang over at their house, we play those games. So, and then in 2014, I got an Xbox 360. So this was actually gifted to me. I loved Warcraft 2 back in the day. Warcraft 2 was very, very cool. I was not as excited when they changed to like the World of Warcraft thing. I was a big standard Warcraft fan as well. So in 2014, I got an Xbox 360. So this was actually gifted to me from, at the time, my mother's boyfriend. My parents had split up a couple years before, and my mom was dating a gentleman who bought a Xbox One, and so he gifted me his Xbox 360. I don't recall playing a lot on this. I do recall messing around. I think I maybe played Fable 2 or Fable 3. I think I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 3 on it, and that's really all I recall. But I thought it was a cool system. I remember it being a big deal. A lot of my friends had it uh, when I had my PS3. I just prefer the PlayStation to the Xbox at this time. So even though I'd say Xbox 360 is probably still the most popular Xbox system. All right, and then in 2015, I got actually another Nintendo DS because I think I ended up selling my white one. Because right around 2014 is when I moved from Nebraska to North Carolina, and I don't recall why I didn't have my white one. I think maybe I just sold it because I wasn't using it. And then I was gifted a blue one, which I still have around here somewhere. And I was gifted to this actually by the daughter of my mom's ex boyfriend. So the boyfriend at the time who gave me the 360, his daughter had two Nintendo DSs, and so she gifted me the DS Lite because I think she had a DS like XL. So and I think I played some Super Mario on it, and I think I had like Pokemon Leaf Green I was playing on it just a little bit. As I said, this was a kind of the lost years for me. This was the time when, as you can see by a lot of the things, there's not really anything gaming or fun related at this time. I really started getting into music, so I've got a guitar there. I've got both those books there. It's Chasing Serendipity and Black Leather Jacket. Those are both books that I have written. They're collections of prose and poetry. And so I was really into that. You also see I have Chevy Cobalt. That's the car that I had back then. And as well as a bottle of Moscato Poggio, as well as some sparkling Poggio and some a passport because I was doing some traveling. I went to Canada and I went to England, and I was just out and about. I was being a single man. I was doing lots of things. Who Benji writes poetry too? Yes. I have that in my Twitter bio, or Twitter, geez, my Twitch bio. And I think there's a link in there too. So, have I written anything lately? I always write here and there. I still write some prose. I don't write as often anymore. I feel like, especially with something like prose, there kind of gets to a point where when you write a lot of things, and I was writing a lot, I've written over 1,000 pieces, that you get to a point where you've said a lot of how you feel in a lot of things. You can refine things. I can go back and look at some pieces and probably, tidy them up, and shift some things around. But I think that you get to a point where you've said a lot of how you feel. You've said a lot of your thoughts and feelings and expressions. And really, at least in the prose world, I don't think there's a ton more, at least right now, that I feel like I have to say. Now, that's not necessarily to say there's nothing I want to write about. I enjoy fiction, and that's something that I'd like to do. But in terms of prose, that's all I've got right now. I mean, I've still have more material I've never put into a book. I could take what I have, which is plenty. Because between these two books, that's probably only about 300 to 400 pieces. So, I mean, there's 600 unpublished pieces. So it's easily could be two more books. But yeah, so that's where we're on that. So then in 2016, I purchased an Xbox One. This is where I wanted to turn it around. I wanted to play games. I hadn't really felt like I was gaming, and I was doing music and I was doing other things. I was doing writing, but I wanted to get back into gaming. I remember it being a hobby that I turned to a lot as a kid, for comfort, for expression, for all that stuff. So I bought an Xbox One, and I couldn't decide if I wanted a PS4 or an Xbox One because I was a huge PlayStation fan. But at the time, my older brother and a few of my friends had an Xbox One. So I decided on that. And I played so many games. I had that console until probably about 2021. I played a lot of great games on it. I played through the newer Tomb Raider trilogy. I played through many of the Assassin's Creeds. I played through the Division. There's just a ton of titles I played on the Xbox. BioShock, and it's a good. It was always like old trusty. Like it did what it was there to do. I don't think I have the same deer sentimentality for it, but it was reliable. It was old reliable, and I appreciated it for the 5 years that I had it, and I played a lot of games on it. So, and then last, we're gonna round out the Lost Eras era with another PC. I think this is the last PC, was the MacBook, and this is where I did a ton of gaming on this PC. I played a lot of League of Legends on my MacBook. I played it on my previous PC, but from 2016 to from 2014 to 2016, I was playing on my first PC, and then from 2016 to probably 2018, I still was playing a lot of League of Legends, and I was doing it on the MacBook. That's pretty much the only game I played. For a few years, that was really the game that I played, and there really wasn't much else. So those are the lost years. We had to go through our kind of sad sloth here, slog of a period. Going to all the highs, got to hit the lows. But